Welcome to I'm Ready Sports presents Selflationship, where you do you. I want to welcome to my show Mr. Micah Sims. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Not a problem. I'm your guest, Kitrick Taylor. Thank you for coming. Thank you for taking the time out. So Micah, let's go. Let's get right into this. We're going to take our time. We're going to do what we do. Talk to me. Just talk about a little bit about who Micah is and your upbringing.
Okay. Micah Sims is the 10th child of Buddy and Morley Sims. But there were 12 of us.
Oh, wow.
10 girls, 2 boys.
What happened? 10 girls?
10 girls. I wasn't involved in that process, but
Unfortunately,
I
right?
just fall in to be number 10.
Okay, all right.
And what's interesting is that me and my brothers, the only 2 boys, born on the same day but 3 years apart.
Whoa.
And I'm the youngest son, so
Same.
I always
Hey,
say, yes, I'm the late twin.
Okay.
But born and raised in Pomona, California. Went to all Pomona schools.
Go ahead, Pomona. We all in the house. Okay.
A proud, always got Pomona on my sleeve wherever I go, worldwide.
All right, that's great. Because as some of you know, I grew up in Pomona too. Okay, so yeah, P-Town we're representing.
P-Town in the house.
Okay, go ahead. We're in the house. Go ahead. So more about your upbringing. How was that, and things that you experienced on that lower level, on that younger level.
My upbringing was actually great. I'm grateful that my father had the foresight about in 1956 to move us from Los Angeles to Pomona.
Wow, you uprooted, okay.
So we moved to Pomona when Pomona was really Mayberry, USA.
Okay.
There were just a few black families that lived in South Pomona at the time off of Hamilton Street.
Okay,
and,
exactly.
We were one of them.
Okay.
So we left Los Angeles. We grew up, like I said, I attended Pomona School. Became very involved later in my high school years in the sport of football.
Okay, we're going to get there. We're going to get there because I got some traumas about that, but we're going to talk about that in a minute. But okay, so you're in Pomona now, and okay, so Hamilton, that's down on the south side, I believe.
Hamilton is on the south side of
Gotcha.
Pomona.
Okay.
We lived right off where Hamilton and Lexington kind of met off the curve.
Yes.
So we lived there for a long time, but once I got prior to going to the 6th grade, we moved like to the southeast side of Pomona, like off of Town Avenue. So I went to Philadelphia Elementary School my 6th grade year. I did go to Simons Junior High School when there was only about 20 black students, so we all knew each other.
Yes,
we all
close knit, right?
Oh man, we would walk through the gates kind of like sheep being herded, making sure everybody was always being taken care of.
Okay, that's good.
We had a great experience there, nonetheless, and it just made us closer, and it's made us very much aware, and that's something that how I was raised, being aware of who you are and where you come from, and being proud to be who you are.
That's good. Okay, so even like in your, so growing up per se, was there like, when I say inspire, anyone that inspired you, or who you follow at that age? Or was it all about you took care of yourself, and because you had your father and the 10 girls, and so talk to me.
I had great role models. My mother's mom, Frances Rogers. She was the international evangelist for the church organization that we belonged to at that particular time. And she traveled the world, and she used to come back sharing all types of stories regarding the cultures and the people that she met, and how we were so much more similar than we were different. So it kind of inspired me to want to travel. So early on, I was a reader. She used to bring me back a lot of different reading material. So that was my way that I was able to travel the world at a young age, was about reading about different cultures and visualizing myself actually going to those places. And fortunately, I have had the opportunity to actually realize those dreams and to have that.
And I see where you're going. We're going to get into that. I love it. So the great thing about what you said, like just that upbringing, that was just, when did you actually start, or when she didn't make you, but when did you start getting into that reading? Like literally, around what age was that?
The funny thing about me and reading, is that I used to get in a lot of trouble as a child.
Okay. Well, it's all of us, right?
So,
okay.
But I always used to ask my parents, well, can I take a book with me?
Okay.
So some of the first books.
Wait, you say you take a book with you?
A book with me when I was confined to my room
okay,
for whole weekends.
I want
you
to tell, let's get that clear. So when you was on punishment.
When I was on punishment,
we had punishment.
After the whooping, and I was still on punishment.
But we can't use that word punishment now. we can use it back then when we were punished. But go ahead. So you said you want to take a book in there.
So
okay.
I would always ask my dad, can I take a book with me? And my dad used to always share with me how smart I had boy, you have a smart mouth. So my dad
we all heard that before.
a whole set of ebony encyclopedias to read.
Really?
And I began to read them. And I began to read them just when I wasn't on punishment.
Yes.
I would want to learn so much about the richness of our culture.
Yes.
And then that combined with my grandmother coming back and sharing her stories from being overseas and all in the Caribbean and meeting people that look like us. It just continued to inspire me.
Right.
But I was always told that the only way that you can physically experience these things is if you had the money and the financial means to do so.
Wow.
So they also instilled in me a strong work ethic. Yes. And I actually started working my first job. Wow. True story, in the 6th grade.
Okay.
My dad used to buy me Husky jeans.
We all had them. Go ahead.
And I used to tear them up. Husky jeans and Buster Brown shoes.
Yeah, come on, man.
And I would tear them up real easily.
Yeah.
So one time I told my dad I was in the 6th grade and I asked him, I said, well, I want some soft pants. I didn't know what slacks was called, but I just knew I wanted some soft pants and a collared shirt.
Go ahead.
So my dad said, well, son, you need some soft pants money.
Yeah.
So a neighbor of mine, Gilbert Garcia, he worked for the Progress Bulletin as a paper boy.
Okay.
So I asked Gilbert, I said, well, how did you get this job? He said, you just have to apply. So I asked my dad, could I be a paper boy? And he said, well, you're going to have to get up early in the morning. I said, I'm going to do what I needed to do.
Right. Okay.
So I was in the 6th grade.
Yeah.
Of course, they gave me the Angelo projects. I got beat up a couple times.
Wait, you got to tell your audience and your listeners about the Angelo projects and what that is.
Well, the Angelo projects is a location in South Pomona at that particular time where it was the less economically advantaged people lived. There was a lot of things going on there that you wouldn't see in the more tamer neighborhoods. So, like I was saying, I got beat up there. Yeah. I got robbed there. Okay. But I had a job.
Yes.
I had a job in the 6th grade where I was making like $45 to $50 a month.
And back then, wow, that was just huge. First.
More than huge for me. It afforded me the opportunity.
Good.
I had a dirt bike that I used for my paper route just in case I needed to get away from anyone. And then it afforded me the opportunity. I had a green metal flake banana seat Swin bicycle.
Wait, slow. Green metal flake
banana seat. Oh, the long seat.
Yeah, with the long.
The little steering wheel. Schwinn bicycle that I rode.
I can picture that.
when I wasn't working. And that was like my introduction to car culture. I love lowrider cars. I don't have one, but I love lowrider cars, lowrider trucks.
Awesome.
But having the opportunity to make money for myself, I always desired to work for myself. And it always instilled in me that if I work, I could get anything I want to do or anything I want to have if I worked. And it afforded me the opportunity when I was in high school. I had a motorcycle and a car my senior year, but it was all from working.
Okay, so now we're talking about the senior year. We're talking about high school. You brought us into it. I love it. So, Micah, come on, man. So I played at Pomona High School, and Micah played at Gary High School. And Micah, and I'm not just saying this, Micah was one of the baddest, meanest, toughest linebackers in the Inland Empire and maybe some Southern California other schools. And I can remember, Micah, I don't know if you remember this, and so my grandmother lived on the corner of Lexington and Park. right across the street from Gary High School.
Okay.
And we're about to play you guys. And for you guys that don't know, like Micah, their team back then, they had about 10 guys that at that point on the defense that could probably go D1 and to the professionals.
Yeah,
and we were like real scrawny guys. And Micah, as you see him, he's just like he is now. But the story just pretty much goes, I was walking out my grandmother's house, and I don't know if it was you, and then you had Stretch, and it was like Cliff, all them. And you guys rolled by, and we were about to play you guys that week. And all I heard coming out of that car was, "We gonna get you." Yeah. And I'm scrawny quarterback, like I'm scared as heck. But the first person that dropped in my mind was Micah Sims, because I knew how bad of a linebacker he was. But I'm just letting you know, man, you put a lot of fear in me, bro. Back then, like real talk. But before we go into that, we're gonna actually go into a commercial, and we're gonna come pick up right back where we left off. Okay.
As a young adult, many of us grow up with our dreams inspired from movies, actors, film stars, and many people from the TV industry. We imagine ourselves to be that way, to be in the same limelight, and accomplish the same amount of stardom someday. BFN actually does that for a lot of individuals who belong to disadvantaged groups in society with much less access to the same privileges as us, and most likely face barriers and discrimination entering the film or theater industry. They offer many programs through theater arts and also mentor the youth with acting classes. It acts as a form of self-expression for many and gives them an outlet to practice and certainly move much closer to their dreams. You can contribute with your generous donations in enriching the lives of motivated young adults as well. You can also support BFN's cause by signing up for our BFN All Access app on Roku TV or any Roku device with just a small donation of $5 monthly or $60 for the whole year to get exclusive content only available through our app. God bless you.
Look, that's the girl that's doing it to us.
I've sat back and I've watched you battle this for years now.
I need time to get this stuff out of my head.
I'm Joseph Clark. I'm here to see Jordan Bardwell.
He's a PI.
I chased your cousin all across the country, finally tracking her to Vegas.
She's in Las Vegas.
You always can lean on our rock and our Redeemer. God in heaven.
She has this routine of going to this one park every day at the same time.
But I know which one it is. Watson Canyon Park.
She was your aunt. She trusted you with everything, including me.
I need all of you if we're going to make this marriage work.
I wish I could change things, Jordan, but I can't.
So why'd you come back?
Welcome back to Selflationship, where you do you. Coming back to Mr. Micah Sims. Micah, so let's pick right back up on the football thing. How do you like football? As I was afraid, I think I said I was afraid to play them because he was like a monster, like literally a monster. But talk to me about football.
I came to football late. A lot of people don't realize that I had a desire to play, but my dad prohibited me from playing.
Why is that?
Because they played on Sundays. Okay. And my dad was a pastor of a church.
Right.
And I had to be in church on Sundays.
Wow, okay.
But I think something that helped me along the lines, he allowed me to run track. Because my dad was a big track and field lover himself.
Okay.
So I started running track when I was maybe 5th or 6th grade.
Okay.
So as I had the opportunity to play football my freshman year in high school, I took real well to it.
Okay.
And I found that the ruggedness of football suited my mentality.
Track was just running. Like what events did you do in track?
I did them all in track.
Really?
And even up until my senior year in high school, I ran on the 4x1.
Okay, right.
My primary event was the 400 yard dash, 400 meter now.
Yeah.
But I also did the shot put.
Okay.
So I would go over there and I would shot put, and I would run the 400 meter. In fact, my first event that I did in track and field was a shot put, which when I was in the 7th grade, I went to the Junior Olympics.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that.
Yes, I went to the Junior Olympics for shot putting.
Wow.
Walked in the stadium full of people and just froze.
Mike, you can't tell me that, man.
I just froze.
Okay, just describe that freezing moment.
Just the roar of the crowd, and it was something that I wanted to do so bad and to attain that.
Okay.
And once I actually got there on that stage, my muscles just didn't work like I desired.
Everything was tight, like
everything was tight. And
I feel you. Yeah.
I mean, I placed well in the shot put, but I was going there to win.
Yeah.
And my mentality, even to this day, is that if I'm not on top, I always say that second place, you just the first one to lose.
Okay, I love that saying. I got a couple other sayings that you say, and I'm gonna bring them to you. But that's awesome right there because you like just self-discipline. Like, no, this ain't gonna happen.
Yes.
This is what I'm gonna do. But then it talks about you said you didn't like track, so you went to football because it was rough and rugged. So you knew what you wanted.
Well, so, I did like track. To this day. I've coached track.
Yeah.
I really liked it, but football suited my mentality.
Yes.
Because that was just my mentality. When I was a young man, I was initially tall and thin.
Okay.
And because I had a lot of sisters, then a lot of people thought that me and my brothers were weaklings.
Right, okay.
So I learned very quickly, I had to do what I had to do to show them that I wasn't.
Right.
And as I began to grow and I began to put on pounds, I began to see the advantages that I had.
Yeah.
And I fully used them to my advantage.
Yeah, you did. You did on that football field. You was a muster.
Yeah.
A muster, not a monster. You was a muster.
I appreciate that.
But you know what? You did well, though. And so now we're going to move forward. Now, this is another moment, like you're talking about self-discipline, you're talking about self-care, you're talking about knowing what you like. And you took the football thing and you ran with it. But then we kind of lost contact per se, and I'm coaching at Lakeside High School as a head coach. And I didn't know this, but then we're preparing to play kickoff, and I'm standing on the sideline, and then here come Micah Sims running by me as an official in high school, and I had chills. I said, oh, that's him, But that was shocking, but it was a great thing to see that you were officiating on the high school level. What brought you into that?
I kind of got in on it by fluke when I was living in the city of Lancaster. I just read an article in the paper that they needed officials.
Oh.
And I said, you know what, I like football, and it's something that I know.
Yeah.
And I said, I think I can do it. And once I started at the Pop Warner level, and I just really learned the game, and I studied the game, and I had a desire to really be a good official, to represent the game well.
Why you think that? So why you? I mean,
from my parents.
Okay, there you go.
My parents instilled in us, my mom and dad, they instilled in us, whatever you do, try to be the best at it.
Beautiful.
And they used to say, even if you're doing wrong, be the best at doing wrong.
Wow, now that's a heavy phrase.
Yeah.
At least you're the best at it.
At least you're the best
at it. You're doing wrong.
Even if you're doing wrong.
Now, do you correct that wrong by?
Well, I try not to do wrong.
Okay, but
But there's been times that I have had to self-correct myself.
Okay. Failures. Talk about a little bit, a couple of failures behind that.
Well, you know what? I think one of my greatest failures, and I'm so glad you asked me that question, is when I was in high school. I was being heavily recruited by then Pac-8 schools, primarily UCLA.
Yes, okay, go ahead.
I took a couple of recruiting trips to UCLA. I really wanted to go to UCLA. My mindset was, I couldn't believe that I was going to UCLA because some of my past decisions, it wasn't leading to a life that would have been favorable for me.
Okay, I see that.
I had my first child when I was 16.
Okay.
My parents ensured that I took care of my child. There were times when I was 13, 14, and 15 that I did spend time in juvenile hall.
Okay.
And I had to make a conscious choice to turn my life around. I knew I was intelligent. I knew I was skillful.
Okay.
But I was using it for the wrong reasons and doing the wrong things.
Right.
And nobody was going to be able to turn my life around except me.
You. That's a self-relationship moment right there. Like, nobody else. I got to do it.
I got to do it.
That's awesome. Yeah, okay.
And the last time that I had spent about 30 days in juvenile hall, I was determined never to go back. So I got out. I got myself together. I was able to go back to Gary High School because I was behind.
All right.
But one thing a lot of people don't know is that when I graduated from high school, my last 2 years, I used to go to regular school and I used to go to adult school because I had to catch up on credits.
That's good. Responsibility. That's
I
good.
still graduated with my class.
That's awesome. That's
my junior and senior year, I was on a principal honor roll.
Wow, that's huge.
But dealing with the most failure, we were playing a high school game against Shore High School in the semifinals. And we ended up losing that game. And we lost the game rather, and I lost my emotions.
So you lost your emotions, like, okay, so go in like a little bit about
kids.
Okay.
lack
of self-discipline at that moment.
I beat up 2 kids from the opposing team.
Okay.
Referee tried to pull me off. I beat up a referee.
Right. Okay.
And I remember that Monday I was called into our coach's office, Coach Oliver Lucas, a man whom I love and have a lot of respect for. And he had Terry Donahue, from the head coach at the time at UCLA. And he made mention that he was at the game, and he stated that my conduct was the type of conduct that could not represent that school, so therefore he was officially withdrawing their consideration for a scholarship for me.
Wow, that had to be a devastating moment, like that.
It crushed me.
That hard work you did.
I was very fortunate. I was able to go to Cal State Fullerton University and play football there. But my football aspirations didn't turn out how I desired them initially.
Right, okay.
But I was shown enough and taught enough and was able to receive enough education where I was able to transition to the next part of my life.
That's good.
Which was working for the state of California for the Department of Corrections.
Okay, and that's huge. And with all that said, though, you mentioned something, and we talked about a phrase. Me and you were talking the other day, and you just said, with all the things that you did and went through and your failures, which you're very successful now, you said something to me and it stuck in my head. You said you would never let anyone else outwork you.
That is correct.
Go in that. I mean, yeah.
Any field that I've ever engaged in, I was taught, I'm not going to let nobody outwork me.
Good.
They may have more knowledge than me initially. If I find out that they do, that just means I need to find out more.
Yes.
If they have more of a desire or even the stamina to do the job, then I have to increase mine.
Yes.
Because I refuse to fail by someone else outworking me.
Yes.
Even after retiring from the state, I had a desire to go to film school.
Okay.
I went to film school at the age of 54, where many of the other students thought I was an instructor.
Okay, so okay.
But even in that, there were 6 of us that began that program. Okay. And after the first semester, five of my fellow classmates dropped out.
Right.
I was there by myself, and it was a hands-on program where you learn how to shoot, edit. So I had to go out by myself.
Yeah.
So it was a real watershed moment regarding how serious I am regarding learning this process.
Yes.
Because I had to do it by myself.
But there was no stopping you. It is what it seemed like. You just see it and you get it, you feel it, you going for it. That's pretty much it.
My grandmother, once again, getting back to my grandmother, who lived to be 94.
Yes.
My grandmother used to say, I'm a rust out. I'm not going to wear out.
I love it.
I mean, I'm going to wear out.
We're not going to rust out.
But I'm not going to rust out.
I love it.
So
I love it.
I picked up the same mantra. I'm going to wear this body out. I'm going to get all that I can out of it. Okay. But I refuse to let it rust out.
Wow, because that was huge for me. But so we're going to go to a commercial, and we're going to pick right back up right here because I love it. Be right back. So back to Selflationship with Micah Sims. So with the work ethic that you have really shows that you're just self-disciplined or you're a disciplined person. And I thank you for sharing that. And what we've just talked about this last 20 minutes, you went into a few things and accomplished a few things. And then I think we went off to say that you start working in a correction facility.
Yes.
What was that experience? Because that takes some work, or should I say, some guts.
It does. It takes all of that.
Go ahead.
It was very interesting how I fell into that line of work. My higher training of higher learning is in the criminal justice field.
Okay.
I had a desire initially to be a lawyer until I interned with a lawyer, and I said I can't do that to people every day.
I know you.
So
yes.
I was actually waiting to get hired by the California Highway Patrol and the California Department of Corrections, both state agencies.
Yes.
And the Department of Corrections hired me first. And when I was hired at the time, they gave you choices of where you wanted to work.
Okay.
And I put San Quentin, San Quentin, and San Quentin.
Okay. That right there, it says a lot about you, Mike. You know what I'm saying? That's great. Okay.
But I figured if I could make it there, I could make it anywhere.
Good. Okay.
Because that was the toughest penitentiary at that particular point in the state of California. So at 22 years old, I was working at San Quentin.
Working at 22 years old.
Yes.
Wow.
And I had a 29-year career working for the state. I did 17 as a parole officer as well. So when I left San Quentin and I came down to Southern California, and then I started working in Los Angeles. I worked all through South Central. I used to be on gang units. I used to be on units.
You was activist, per se, in a sense.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
I always, my parents were activists.
Yes.
My grandparents were activists.
Yes.
So when I got into a particular field, I always tried to position myself where I could be very influential.
Love it.
And open up doors for other people that was coming behind me. So even with the state of California, there were some things that I didn't want to do, but I knew that they would be beneficial not only for myself, but for those that was coming behind me. So I actually taught for the state for 24 of my 29 years. I used to teach weapons and self-defense.
Come on.
And room entries and different things like that. So I'm very versed in firearms and everything like that. The things that I like to do.
Wow.
You know, it goes back to the young me.
But the self-discipline me, then you went through both extremes. You know, you've done, you know, negative stuff, but you've done way more, tons of positive stuff.
Definitely.
And you mentioned, like, we talked about one or two experiences in working in the, you know, the correction facilities. Do you have any experience with people you work with or
of
you
course.
talk to? Give us a couple.
Working at San Quentin in 1985, it was a very unique location.
Okay.
At that particular time, they had, which they still have, condemned row or death row.
Okay.
Which I worked on there for 2 years.
Oh wow.
But it afforded me the opportunity, just working there, to have conversations with Geronimo Pratt.
Whoa. Okay.
With Tookie Williams.
Wow.
With Charles Manson.
Charles Manson too.
A young man from Pomona. What is his name? He ended up being on death row. Who? Jamal Beasley.
I know Beasley.
Yes, Jamal Beasley.
Yes.
Who's currently on death row.
Okay.
These were people that I knew. Besides other people that were just have received very long prison sentences. That, I mean, I knew people that I used to spend the night at their house. Some of them I had dated their sister. So these were guys that
close, real close.
Real close. But they continue to make choices that I turned away from. And I'm grateful that I had the parental upbringing. That I really had an anchor to go to. That I knew that when I was out there making those negative choices. I was doing them not because I had to, because I chose to. So just like I chose to do them, I could choose not to do them.
That's great.
So it led me to a place where, working at San Quentin, where God showed me that I could have been there and not working there.
That's
so
good,
I'm eternally
man.
grateful for that.
That's on the other side of that world.
Yes.
But still giving back, still helping. You know, like you talk about the guys that you grew up with. I'm sure they're inspired by you. You inspire them, you talk to them, and your life exudes to them. And that's a great thing. I know that moving forward, when your dedication is huge. Like I saw on Facebook, right? And then I saw this thing where you got a certificate for studying ancestry.
Yes. Well, what?
Come on, Mike, talk to me. I love it though, man. I love that. Go ahead.
Well, what I did was, there's a company called AfricanAncestry.com.
Good. Okay. Good.
So AfricanAncestry.com, what they do is that you provide them your DNA. And they search your parentals and your mother and your father's background. So rather than just going to the country in Africa, they go down to the native peoples and from that particular region that you can discover where you're from.
Come on.
So I had the opportunity, and I did my mother's side and I did my father's side. So on my mother's side, I discovered that I'm from the Balanta and the Mandinka people.
I'm not going to try to say that first, Balanta. Okay, and the Mandinka. Mandinka, I heard. Okay, go ahead.
And the Balanta people are from the country of Guinea-Bissau. And Mandinka people, where she was from, is from the region of Senegal. So both of those are being on the west coast of Africa.
Wow.
When I did my dad, I was even more shocked.
Okay, come on.
Because it came back Portuguese.
Hold up. Time out. Stop the press. Portuguese?
Portuguese.
How? Like, what?
The only thing I could imagine happen, because I'm very aware that the Portuguese was either the second or third country to jump on the Atlantic slave trade.
Okay, go ahead.
There was a Portuguese man who
goodness.
came from Portugal.
Come on.
And in the enslavement of a Mandinka Balanta woman. That my lineage was created.
Wow.
Yes.
So was there something you learned that, as far as your traits, from when you were young? Is there something that you discovered? Why? Whatever?
Yes. Since I discovered
come on,
my ancestries, and Ancestry.com is a great vehicle because they provide you with your genetic markers. They do not sell your DNA, and that was major factors for me going with that particular company. But what I learned about the Balanta people and the Mandinka people, that they were very difficult to conquer, and that they even with the Portuguese doing what they were doing, they were constantly fighting back. And that told me a lot about myself.
And that right there, you can go all the way back to when you, like one of my buddies say, when we were a coconut head boy. That right there explains your fight, your battle to, you know, no one's going to outwork me.
Yes.
That's that self-discipline because it was in you.
It was in me. The seed is in you.
The seed is there. That's great.
And I believe it's so important that people know where they come from. So they know their traits. They know why they feel a certain way, or even why they look a certain way. So being able to trace back my genealogy like I've been able to do it, it's so liberating for me. And it's been liberating on so many levels for my children as well. And for my brothers and sisters, and to be able to share it with them, this is where we come from.
That's huge.
So it's something that I encourage. A lot of people say that they're kind of fearful to know where they come from. But I'm proud of who I am, regardless. So maybe that's that Balanta and Mandinka.
Yeah, you feel good about you.
I feel good about me.
Selflationship. That's awesome. Wow. Okay, so we're gonna move forward. Now, I was reading and we had talked about. I think there was you were telling the people and you were thinking the people praying for you. There was a scare just recently.
Yes. With
your health.
Yes.
You want to go into that?
Sure. Okay. I'm a person that always believes in having physicals. We have one body. I'm very aware that we didn't come here to stay, but I'm trying to enjoy the trip that I'm having.
I love it. I told you you had some great sayings. I love it. Go ahead.
So in order to do so, you have to be healthy.
Absolutely.
Spiritually as well as physically.
Yes, sir.
So I'm used to having yearly physicals, but COVID prohibited that from happening.
Now. Okay.
But when I was able to go back and get my physical, I got all my blood work done. So my PSA levels, which if people don't know, is directly attributed to your possibility of having prostate cancer.
Right, exactly. Okay.
My PSA levels was abnormally high.
Whoa.
Abnormally high.
Wow. So wow, okay.
A friend of mine who had overcome or beat prostate cancer, I shared the information with him. So he shared with me, he said, you have to get this other test done.
Wow.
So I called my doctor. My doctor was very, very welcoming, but I was ready to push if I have to.
We talking about self-care here.
Yes.
We talking about, now it's about self-care.
It's about self-care.
Go ahead, sir, yes.
So I was ready to push. I was ready to, if you're not going to approve this test, who do I need to talk to? Because somebody's going to approve this test for me.
Good, that's good.
I wasn't going
to highly recommend that.
Yes, exactly. So I was able to get the testing that I needed.
Yes.
And it was a process.
Yes.
It was painful.
I can imagine.
I had 12 biopsies done on my prostate.
12?
12.
Wow.
It was almost like a mini surgery, but they don't put you to sleep.
Okay.
They go actually in, not to be too in depth, but I guess to be in depth.
Yeah.
They put a small tube through your rectum. Okay. They place it on the tip of your prostate. Then they put another instrument in there where they can get the samples.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna feel it.
Yeah.
But I rather have it. I rather know if I have it at the early stages where it could be corrected, because what a lot of people fail to realize is prostate cancers is one of the number 1 or number 2 cancers that's beatable if you catch it in its early stages.
There you go.
But however, Black and Hispanic men die at disproportionate numbers more than any other race, because we have this stigma about getting checked.
We don't want to go. We're not going to go get checked. No, because I don't want to know. That's just a lot. Like you said, I was at that point at one point. Like I don't want to know what I got. If I have anything, I don't want to know. But we got to be better as men.
Yes, we have to be better.
To. Whether you find out or don't find out, you just want to take care of yourself.
Well,
you have to.
Once again,
yes,
I know men that refuse to go to the hospital, but you got these elaborate cars that you check on every day.
Watch out, we're going there, we're going to go
You make sure the oil change, you make sure the brakes is right, you make sure this, you polish it, you wax it.
Yeah.
Aren't you much more than a vehicle?
Wow, good. See, there you go. I love it. I love it.
long story short, I didn't have it.
That's awesome.
I did not have prostate cancer, but the process now, I'm on a regimen that every 6 months I'll have my levels tested, and if I need to do any additional testing, then I will get the additional testing done, because it's better to know so it can be treated than to go and then get sick. I had an uncle by marriage who passed away at 59.
Wow, that's huge.
Because he refused to go to the doctor. And then when he did go to the doctor, he had stage 4 prostate cancer.
Wow.
And he passed soon thereafter. So I know the importance of it.
It's very important. Self-responsibility, you got to make sure you follow up and do those things.
You have to follow up.
And you said something on that note. You said an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure.
Yes.
This is your, that's Micah saying. I'm gonna say it again, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. That's so huge.
Yes.
You know, instead of saying, oh, now I got it, now I gotta do all this cure, take care of all this medication, I gotta do this. But guess what, if you just would have went, if we just go early, we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. I often think of the TV that we grew up on that had so many great examples. Like that old Fram commercial. You can pay me now, or you can pay me later, but you're going to pay me. So dealing with your health and dealing with our bodies, if you take care of your body, you don't have to be, crazy about it. Some people may, I'm in the gym still 4 days a week. I stopped eating pork at 17.
4 days a week. Remember that, because we're going to hit that. We're going to hit that before we leave, but go ahead.
I stopped eating beef at 19.
Wow.
I try to drink at least 60 ounces of water every day.
Come on.
But this is what keeps me in balance, and this is what allows me to be able to do the things that I like to do, the traveling, to be able to walk, to be able to referee, to be able to run. So it's all a process, and I don't ascribe to the notion that after you hit 50, then everything goes downhill. I think you're free to do everything you always wanted to do at that time.
And let's just move on. You went into something. You work out. Boom, I see you driving. I see you, like, you seriously working on. I was going to ask if you getting ready to try for the XFL or something, because you on it, Mike. I watch you every day. That's that responsibility, man. You own it, bro. Like,
no,
how does that,
exercising for me helps keep me balanced. And taking care of oneself, you have to know yourself first. A lot of people don't know themselves. And I know that when I don't do certain things, I can get short. I can become irritable. I can not even like the person. Not even like my own self.
So
So it's therapeutic for me.
Come on, man. Come on.
And it allows me to, like I said, to move. It keeps my stress level down. And it just. One of my friends, you know him, Daryl Titsworth.
Yes, sir.
Daryl Titsworth. We both went to Cal State Fullerton together.
Yes.
A great friend of mine.
He
called me years ago when we were kids. Black LaLanne.
Black LaLanne. That's that word, Jack LaLanne, back in the day.
The black version.
I got you.
Because even back then, I started doing push-ups. I don't use a lot of weights now, but I do a lot of cardiovascular. I do a lot of core work. I do a lot of push-ups. I do a lot of bar work. I do a lot of pulls. So, my joints can stay how they're supposed to, but I can still stay strong. Because, one thing I know for sure as we get older, I'm a lion, but I'm a gray lion
You're
now.
a gray lion, right. Okay, that's
so
good.
As a young lion, see the gray lion, they may think the gray lion can be taken, but I'm just like a volcano.
Yeah, man, come on,
Just because I'm not exploding,
I love it.
Don't mean I'm not a volcano.
There you go. So
I'm still a volcano.
You're still a volcano.
I'm still a volcano.
And you're taking care of yourself.
Yes,
that's
sir.
That's what this show is about.
Yes, sir.
Relationships. So other things, I think I saw you. You go to your granddaughter's basketball games, and that's huge.
Yes,
man. That is huge. Like
I have 6 children, 3 boys, 3 girls. Combining those from marriage, I have 15 grandchildren. They play a variety of sports. What's beautiful to me is that I'm able to mentor them
There you go.
Not as a coach, but as a grandpa
as
now.
a grandpa, right?
Yeah, and I'm able to show them.
I love it. Okay.
Because I have a lot of my scrapbooks from back in the day. I'm able to show them.
You keep all them scrapbooks? You got all your, everything that you've done?
From the weightlifting stuff and all that.
Come on.
I'm able to show them your grandpa was about that life back in the day.
They don't understand that. They don't understand that. But you know it's funny, Mike, and we're not just, like, I just didn't have someone come on the show just to have him. He's a great example of just going after things, you know, knowing who he is, taking care of himself, you know, knowing when he has to be disciplined, you know, there's responsibility involved. And it's huge. And I see you, like, you be dancing, you know, on your video. I mean, like, that's huge, man. What is that like, just to be able to go out and just dance? That's necessary? Am I correct?
It's very necessary. My wife and I would go to a lot of concerts.
Come on. Yes.
We love old school music.
Yeah.
The freedom to dance and to be free and to love life to the extent where you're not concerned about what other people are thinking.
That's huge. There you go.
You're not concerned about what other people are saying. I've never really cared about what other people have said about me. But at this particular stage in my life, the freedom that I have and the things that I've overcome, it just gives me the confidence and the ability just to live life and to live it out loud.
Yeah, I like that, out loud. Live it out loud.
Live it out loud.
What does that look like? Living it out loud, showing what, like?
Living it out loud is to, first and foremost for me, everything that I have, all the things that I'm able to do, I'm able to do it because God had mercy on me.
That's good. There you go. Okay.
God had mercy on me. God had patience with me.
Man. Come on.
God granted me forgiveness for myself and for others as well.
Yes, sir.
And in that forgiveness, there's freedom.
Yes.
And I'm able to live, and I'm able to live that even people that may oppose me, that doesn't mean I have to oppose you. That just means I don't have to fool with you. And it's okay.
I love that. I love that. That's
you.
a nugget.
Yeah.
That's a nugget. You can oppose me all you want.
Yeah.
But that means I don't have to deal with you.
Yeah, I just don't have to deal with you.
I love it.
That doesn't mean every time I see you, I have to become upset or angry. Because I'm free.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that I have to strain to try to be in a friendship with people that may not want to be a friend to me.
Yes.
But I'm okay with that.
That's good.
Because I love me. My family loves me.
Come on, man.
And long as God loves me, and long as God has forgiven me, I learned a long time ago, Kitrick, that I'm trying to live my life to live eternally in the place that I desire to be.
Yes, I love it.
And in order to do so, I had to let go a lot of me and learn more about God. So my spirituality is very important to me. My spirituality, I try to let that guide my thoughts, my actions, and my choices every day.
And it has.
And I try to stay connected to the Most High, which leads and guides me. And I'm just grateful because as growing up in Pomona, I went to a lot of funerals of people that I loved. I started going to funerals of my friends when I was 16 years old. And I could have easily been one of them. But God just spared my life. And awesome. It wasn't because I was so smart. And that gives me a certain type of humility that I always try to live with, and I always try to seek to help other people and to show them that you can live a good life. You can live an honest life. You can live a clean life. And there's a lot of fun in doing so as well.
Yes. So you just gave the audience, your listeners, the advice, great advice. Is there any other advice that you want to give your listeners? Anything else, just in general, just overall?
Find out about you.
Come on.
Michael Jackson made the song "The Man in the Mirror."
Man in the Mirror. Come on, man.
I challenge people to do a test, something that I used to do.
Yes.
I used to see how long I could stand in the mirror and not say anything and look at myself.
Wow. Wait, slow down. So look in the mirror. Don't say nothing.
Don't say nothing. And see how long you can do it.
Wow.
Because
what does that mean?
your memories will flash before you. And a lot of times people don't like what they see.
Wow. Okay.
You know?
So what's the result? So how do you get to that result? Like, okay, I'm looking, and now What?
For me, I try to find the lessons that I learned even in my negative choices.
Yeah.
Sometimes you learn not to do that no more.
There we go. Okay, that's what I was getting.
Sometimes you learn that certain things don't matter. Sometimes you learn it's better to walk away than to say anything at all.
There you go, Micah. That's huge.
So looking in the mirror and the things I used to do, it allowed me to not only see where I had grown from my past, but see where I wanted to see myself in the future.
Yes, yes.
And those things that I visualized, a lot of those things have come to pass. They have come to fruition.
That's huge.
But it allows me to continue to dream.
Yes.
Continue to visualize.
Keep
continue
going.
to go forward.
Working on yourself.
Because once again, when it's all said and done, I want to leave a legacy for my family and for my children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
Wow.
I want to leave a blueprint
yes, sir.
For them to follow so they can have their own legacy and they can build their own legacy. And if I'm able to do that, then I think I've done my job.
Well done, good, my faithful. Well done, my good and faithful servant.
That is correct.
Absolutely.
And that's what I strive to do. And I strive to please God more than anything else.
Awesome.
To be less like me and more like him.
That's awesome. Well, you heard some great advice. You've heard from this man here. Much respect, Mike. I mean,
Likewise.
Real talk, man. I follow you. I don't say much to you, but I follow you. And I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing because Selflationship is huge. And you have demonstrated that in this podcast. So look these people right in your camera here and tell them how to follow you, where they can follow you if you want them to follow you. And
sure,
because you're doing some great work. Go ahead.
On Facebook, you can follow me at Clocking In, CLOCKINGIN, My Life After Retirement. That is my Facebook as well as my YouTube. I don't post all the time, but when I do, I try to make it special. And this year, I'm posting a lot of my travels. I have a lot of vacations coming up this year, so a lot of travel logs. I'm scheduled to go to Fiji. I'm scheduled to go to New Zealand. I'm scheduled to go to Hawaii. I'm scheduled to go to Costa Rica. And I'm scheduled to go to Dominican Republic all this year. And what I do when I go to those places, I like to interview local people and find out about their customs and to find out about how they live their particular lives. And I've come to find out that we're much more similar than we are different. So Clocking In, My Life After Retirement is where you can see those things I just mentioned. And I appreciate all your support.
Wow, that's so huge. Thank you, Micah Sims, for coming on to this show, Selflationship, where you do you. I want to thank you for taking your time out. And I want to give a shout out to the place that we're at. It's called the Epic Event Center, okay? And none other than Sean Jones is the owner here. He allowed me to come in and use this place, and I want to thank him. You guys I'm telling you, get online. It's called the Epic Events Center. Get online, book your ceremonies, book your weddings here. It's a marvelous place. It's great. I mean, I'm looking around. It's huge. I mean, if you're watching our YouTube or by Facebook, you can kind of see the background of what's going on. But this is just a smidge of it. But contact Sean Jones at the Epic Event Center to book all of your ceremonies and your events. It's an awesome place. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Epic Event Center. Thank you, Micah Sims.
You're welcome.
For coming on again. You're awesome. I want to thank all of you viewers and listeners for watching us. And remember, Selflationship is you taking care of yourself. So, are you doing that? Please do. Until next time, I'm out.